Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Damn it, Lucy, you be ready when I say
Ready.
good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna get rolling. Jesse, you got everything live?
Yes.
Okay, so lead conversion. Every week people seem to be busier and busier, and this class gets smaller and smaller because people aren't here. But you guys are here because you want to learn how to do more lead conversion, which is great. Anybody have a great lead conversion story to start out with before I get started?
How come it's becoming more difficult? Tell us.
I'll tell you exactly why.
Tell me.
So part of what your challenge is right now is buyers are starting to be picked up long time before they even think about talking to you. So, you know, this whole ready to learn.
How are they going on the line and putting their name in there?
Well, what it is they're getting picked up on ads on Facebook. They're getting picked up on ads on Realtor.com and Zillow. They're looking for months before they even tell anybody that they're looking. By the time they actually come down the pipe to say, I'm raising my hand to look at a house, they've already had 3 realtors that they've been kind of working with or talking to. So your conversion skills never had needed to be stronger than they are right now. So what we talk about all the time is fishing upstream. How do you get to people before they start that process of going down the rabbit hole of looking for houses? Referrals are going down. We talked about this the other day, right? It used to be 60 to 70% of all transactions happen because of a referral. We're down nationally to 44%, and on the coast, we're down to 14%. It's moving inward because of the internet, because people are getting picked up. Every day, if somebody's inventing some new tool to search for houses or to learn about the process, they're inventing all these different technologies for lead conversion, for lead capture, lead generation, lead conversion. And by the time you're even thinking of, oh, I'm thinking of moving, let's click on this one little button. Pretty soon, you're caught in somebody's campaign, and you start talking to people. And before you're even really ready to buy, you're already starting to build a relationship with an agent. So, you know, this is the problem. By the time you guys are picking people up on Realtor.com, they've already got agents. Here's the good news for you. Agents suck at what they do. They just do. So how strong is the bond? Do you have a better value proposition? Do you have a better mission statement? Is there things you can say to handle objections and to insert value better than your competition? That's what this really comes down to. And we're going to talk a lot about that today. So first off, what's our main skill set in real estate that we suck at?
Follow-up.
Follow-up. Now, everybody wants to talk about how great of a realtor they are. How about this? Demonstrate it. Demonstrate it. We already know what people want. They want relevant information. They don't want to be sold. They don't want to be pushed. They don't want to be, pushed to buy before they're ready, number one. They don't want to be pushed to see houses when don't want to look at houses yet. They want follow-up. They want relevant information. They want useful information. And they want you there when they need you. They want honesty and integrity. Those are the things they want. It's not hard to figure out what they want. It's harder to deliver it because in our industry, we don't deliver that. What we deliver is response times of 9 hours, if at all.
They want to screw with my perfect daily schedule.
See? And we're going to build that into your perfect daily schedule that once every hour, you give yourself 5 minutes to send a quick text message. That's what we do. Aaron, how's it going? So let's talk about this. I want you guys to get this in your head. The fortune's in the what?
Follow-up.
The fortune's in the what?
Follow-up.
Aaron, one more time. The fortune's in the follow-up. How should we be following up? Immediately. So let's talk about this. I mean, 30-second follow-up, and lead comes in, an inquiry comes in, a sign call comes in. Follow-up. An open house guest leaves your open house. I don't want to bug them. I'll wait 3 days to call them. No! Don't do that. Always assign yourself the next action item and get back to them immediately. They want to see that you are ready to follow up. They don't want to be pushed. Hey, Gary, I met you at the open house 5 minutes ago. Do you want to go look at houses? No, I don't want to go look at houses. They don't even know you yet. They don't want to be pushed. What they want is they want relevant information and value from you. And when they're ready to go do something, they'll let you know. So that RPR report or the list of properties they haven't seen or the off-market properties they haven't seen, you want to do strong lead conversion, know what their problems are. Right now, what's their problem? That was the most quiet answers from both. The two of you together could not make a sound loud enough for me to hear. Let's try that again. What do they want? They want inventory, right? So two of the biggest problems we have in the market right now is low inventory and multiple offer wars, okay? That's 2 problems we have. How do we solve that? Can we solve that for our people that with the minute we meet them at an open house or on a sign call, are we able to say, here's the thing, I got something for you. I've got a list of 37, 45, 65, 105 off-market properties. Have you seen this one? Okay. Have you been out there? Yeah, we put 2 offers in on different properties. We've lost by 20 grand. We just can't compete. Have you seen our multiple offer formula? How we're winning multiple offers 80% of the time. Solve their problem.
So how do you keep going with that? It's like, we just put an offer in last week. Obviously, we signed with an agent.
Not obviously. Not always. Not always. You always have to explore that. Sometimes they're not. Agents sometimes, you'd be surprised how many times, even in here, that closing documents get turned in and there's no buyer's rep. You never want to assume. So solve their problem. Follow up, follow up, follow up. They want people to follow up. Why do they want your follow up right now? In a competitive market, do they want to see that you're on top of things, or that you'll get back to them in 3 hours or 4 hours or 5 hours? Okay. Automated responses are great too. How many people know how to do text responders? Do a text responder. Hey, saw you called, be back to you by whatever time, within an hour, within 2 hours, whatever it is. Let them know. All they want to know is they've been heard and you're going to get back to them. Okay.
Do you suggest a good after that, or
So, Gary, what do you use for text responder?
I have this bold leads campaign thing.
Yep.
And once a lead comes in, it's got everything all set up. I'm like, I think it's within 3 minutes they get a text.
Nice.
Automatically, and I can customize it too, so it's not too long.
Right.
But I'm acknowledging that I've received their message and I'm here for you, and then it gives them my contact information.
So so there's different formats out there. Call action's about my favorite because we have it right in here too. So I would invest in call action, because what you can do is on top of giving text responders, it also gives campaigns. You can set it up that if they inquire on a lead or on a sign or an open house or anything, it's, hey, saw your inquiry, be back to you, within an hour or two. Would you like to see the house? Let me know. 45 minutes later, would you still like to see the house, or what time would work for you? Let me know. It can continue to drip on them for the next hour or two until you actually physically call them. Okay.
Is that the platform?
That's what you can buy the call action extension separately.
Okay.
What that is, it allows you to use that phone number as a shadow number that you can be for direct mail. It can be for signs. It can be for open houses. It could be literally Facebook or Craigslist. Hey, for a list of this week's open house, text open house 2, 763, whatever. And when they do that, they get a link that you populated with all that week's open houses or off-market properties. For a list of all the off-market properties, text off-market 2. So
call action? It's perfect.
So that's what it is. Call action or call to action. That's, I think, how they use it. The call to action is contact me for and you will get. Get it? And it's all automated. So let's dive into this. We talked about follow-up. We got to go follow-up, right? So does that mean somebody that wants to buy a house, 8 months from now, that you follow up every day? No. Identifying the life cycle that the lead's in. Are they, ready right now? Are they an A lead? Are they a B lead? They're not ready for a few months. They're not really looking to go out there and look at houses 4 times a week. The person that wants to move in 30 days, they want to hear from you often. In fact, they want to hear from you pretty much daily. The person that wants to buy a house 4 months from now, probably not. But once a week would be nice. And how great would it be if you had, what do they really want from you in that interim, by the way? This is a trick question. You figure this out, you convert more leads. They're not buying a house for 6 months. What do they want from you right now? Do they want a phone call every single week saying, you want to look at houses? No.
They want your trust.
What they want from you is they want relevant information. This is why I love about automated follow-up. You're able to send them, push to them properties that they want to see at the time they want to see it. The platform for that we've got is YLOPO. You can do it manually if you want. You can put them on a different search engine. YLOPO. YLOPO. YLOPO.
Is
What-
it available now?
It is. Today, do you think the onboarding is going to be over?
I would say by early next week.
Okay, we'll probably have the onboarding done today, but by early next week, we're going to release it. So it's like 10 hours to onboard that thing. So here's the idea, guys. If you can keep those people that are looking 6 months or a year from now before they're going to move, if you keep relevant search tools and buyer tools in front of them, this is what I love about HomeSpotter, HomeSnap. Do you want them on Zillow meeting other agents, or do you want them on your own branded search tool? That's what they want. They want search tools and follow-up, but relevant. Don't push them to look at houses when they're not ready. So, one thing I want to talk about a lot today, because we see this in a tougher market. Objections. What's some of the objections we're getting right now? Okay, so yeah, I don't really want to do anything because I'm worried that if I sell my house, I won't find one that I will like. Why are they worried about that? Inventory. How do we handle that objection? Remember, there's a rhythm to objections. Validate, let them know they're heard. Validate it, that's a valid concern. Insert information that's gonna be valuable that might reshape the way they're thinking about it, give them a solution, solve that problem. And first thing you're gonna do is isolate the objection. So Aaron, is it fair to say that you would like to move? However, what you're worried about is that if you sell your house, you won't find one that you're gonna like to buy.
Correct.
Fair statement.
My father-in-law.
Good, understand, right? So we isolate the objection. You do want to move, but. Right? You do want to sell and you want to use me, but you don't want to pay 6%.
Right.
Aside from the commission, is there anything else that's going to, hold you up right now from moving forward? Nope, just the commission, 6%. We're isolating that. Aside from not being able to find a house today, you're worried about finding that house. Is there anything else that would stop you from moving today? No, I would do it right now. My house is too small. We're expanding our family, whatever the case is. Right? So isolate the objection. Validate. That's a valid concern. Understandable. Not, oh, don't worry about it. No, it's a valid concern. So, Aaron, did you know that this is super cool that you can do this, by the way? I think this is really going to help you. We can sell your house right now without you having the risk of being homeless. Do you want to know how we can do that?
That's not possible.
Totally possible. Here's how we do it.
Chris Blundell says he can do it.
Yeah. So here's how we're going to do it. We can sell your house, find a buyer, and we can lock them into a contract today subject to one thing, that if you don't find the house of your choice, you don't have to move. We'll get them to agree to that, and they'll wait for you to find that house. Does that make sense?
How do we get them to agree with that?
Well, right now, because the inventory is low, like you, right? You're struggling to find a house that you like. They're doing the same thing. We'll lock them in. We'll get them waiting because there's not other options for them. Okay?
I did that with my first house. I'm like, it's contingent on the fact that I find something I like.
Right.
And we dropped off the first month because we didn't find anything.
So now we just gave some value, but here's how we're going to give you more. So here's the thing, Aaron. It's going to be really it's really going to be a challenge for us to find the right buyer. We're going to make sure and vet that buyer that they're going to wait for us. We're going to find the right buyer, not any buyer, but the right buyer. You can agree, right, that not every buyer is going to be a good buyer. We want the right person that will work with this situation. That's what my job is going to do, or be, is to find that person. So, and Aaron goes, yeah, now I feel a little bit more hopeful. Great. So it might take you 30, 60, 90 days to find the right house, but then you won't feel like you're rushed, or you won't feel like you have to make a choice to buy a house that you don't really like because you don't want to be homeless. It'll give you the power to shop in peace. Does that make you feel better? Right. Okay. Handle the objection. Move them forward. Now, objection handling doesn't mean you argue with them or try to sell them on a concept that isn't real. A lot of people think objection handling is talking them out of something that they believe. It's not. It's showing them a different path. You don't butt heads with them. You show them a different path. Yes?
Buyers coming in know this already.
Mhm.
It's not like we had to think back years ago and we're going to get so much of an objection. It took them a long time to find your listing.
Right.
And so if you're telling them that we might need 6 weeks to, and you work that in there, and it's, well, it took us like all year to find this house.
Exactly.
They're willing to work with you. So
Exactly.
Don't be too worried about them.
You shouldn't. And if you find one that is going to push back, that's not your buyer. You get the next one. The good news is right now we got buyers. We'll find the buyer. So we're not worried about that. Okay. Objections. Talk about some objections. I love objections. What are the ones you guys are getting out there?
Some people think that interest rates are too high, they're going to wait for them to come back down because they were lower.
They're waiting, right? So interest rates are too high. Well, you know what they're really saying, right? You know what they're really saying is houses are becoming unaffordable, right? The price of the house is getting unaffordable. They're right. Home prices are going up. It's high. So I'm just going to wait for things to correct. You know what they're really saying is I'm waiting for the market to shift. So what I would do is I'd identify that. But let's get back to, and this is kind of a deeper objection handling, but let's get back to this point. Do people want to move because they love to move? No. Moving sucks, people.
Really?
It sucks. It disrupts your life. It's expensive. It's hard. Let's get to the root of why they want to move. Great, I understand. You're waiting for interest rates to adjust. You're waiting for homes to become more affordable. You're waiting for homes that you will like. You will in your budget. You'll see and you'll like them. Understandable. Is it a fair statement, Scott, that aside from the interest rates, you're looking at home prices right now, and maybe you're finding that the options you're seeing are not super, like they're not really getting you that motivated? Is that a fair statement?
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about the reason that you want to move in the first place. Are you trying to solve a certain pain point? Are you trying to create a better opportunity? What is your primary reason that you want to move?
Sick of renting.
Sick of renting. Great answer, right? Now, the beauty about this, what I love about this conversation already, is I'm learning about the buyer and we're learning where to go with it. So what is it about home ownership that you're hoping to accomplish?
Build equity.
Build equity. Now, see, he's thinking about interest rates are high, home prices are high. Do I really want to buy when it's high right now? Do you really want to tell that buyer you need to buy right now? No, because his motivations and mindset are completely different. Okay. So Scott, let me ask you this. Is buying right now super important enough? Like the concept of home ownership and building equity is important enough that if home prices continue to rise, would you take that risk of waiting? If home prices just keep rising, would you take that risk? Or is it more just important to buy a home?
I can afford to get into it, I guess.
Gotcha. So now we're learning more about the buyer. Yes.
I would recommend that they get started with a lender, that they get pre-approved so that they kind of know where they're at, what the affordability is. And, maybe they might be right on that line where they can't afford that house. But then you can share about, we've already had 2 increases so far this year in the interest rates. What's it going to be like next summer? What if the interest rates are going to go up 1 or 2% by next summer and home prices are going to go up 4 or 5, 6% by next summer? How affordable is it going to be for you next year?
So I'm glad you're bringing this up because I'm going to show you a tool that we're going to get into in 1 minute for that.
Okay.
So now here's the thing, right? We already know with renters that there's usually misconceptions, right? That's Scott, great. It's great, Scott. You're thinking about, affordability and pricing and stuff like that and budget. So let me ask you this. What is your budget for a monthly payment?
$1,500.
Okay. And have you compared what $1,500 will buy you in purchasing power in today's market?
Not really.
Okay.
How that works.
So we're finding misconceptions, right? Jess, can you pull up the rate price calculator real quick on the split screen?
You want it up there?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to show you guys a tool that we have right in our back office that you're going to use for this exact same situation. So here's what I'm going to do, Scott. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some estimates of what $1,500 can buy you in today's market. So I'll give you an idea of what that might look like. Secondly, I'm going to give you a couple scenarios of what will happen if you wait. And what I mean by that is if interest rates go up, but property values go down. We'll show you what that looks like. We'll show you what it looks like if interest rates go up and property values also go up. We'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to give you something right now that'll give you an idea what those projections look like so you can make an accurate and educated decision on how you want to move forward. Now, of course, we would have this tool up when I had that conversation. Wait for me for 5 minutes. I'll get right back to you. Not how you want to do it.
I got another realtor calling.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the software that you're pulling up?
It's the rate, what do we call it? The rate price calculator?
Yeah, I'll get the exact.
Yep. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and you're going to love what it does.
I might as well show you how to find it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the back office. rgbackoffice.com.
We have that.
Mister, by the way, how are you?
What's become Great Scott?
Great Scott.
Yeah.
Probably worse. Compliment, isn't it? Yeah. Everything.
Yeah, no kidding. So, two guys walking a bar. Got to kill some time here, right?
Keep going with that. Come on.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
Yeah. Third guy ducks. That's it. That's all I got.
Irishman walks out of a bar.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. All right. It's just warming up.
Yep.
Now, I want you guys to really let this sink in how cool of a tool this is. It doesn't look like much, but what the function of it is awesome. Any day now. Okay.
It's, they can see that home right now, but I don't know why it's not connected.
You should have this in every
Yeah.
open house.
What's that?
You should have this in every open
You
house.
should, yep. Okay, here's how we get in, guys.
First name, last name, first initial, last name, unless you've changed it. All right, we go to the Run Share Resources, Cloud Delta. Move this. And then just type in the word rate. And it
Rate
opens
price
in-
calculator.
Yep, rate price calculator, and it opens an Excel spreadsheet that I have to move my Zoom stuff for. There we go. And
Okay.
here it is.
There we go. Now, let's call it a $190,000 home. You see there's three scenarios. Now, scenario 1, scenario 2. You guys all see that, right?
Right.
Look what happens when we have a $5,000 down payment with a 190 price, 185 loan, 4.5 interest rate. We've got a total payment of 937, right? We've got scenario 1. Homes decline by 5%. I'm just going to wait for home prices to go down before I buy. Yet the interest rate goes up. Same down payment, okay? Less of a loan amount with a 1% rate increase. What happens to the payment?
Goes up.
It goes up. So the misconception is if I wait, I'll save money. Here's what gets better. Over 30 years, how much more am I paying? See that?
Just mail that to every renter in 5 mile radius.
Scenario 2. This is what happened this summer. We're in this right now. Home prices went up 5%, interest rates went up 1%. Those that have waited already are paying higher increase, which is $166 more a month, and over 30 years, 60 grand more for that same house. Do you want to see why this is a great tool? Here's why. Yeah, let's go ahead and change it. Let's play with a real scenario. Give me a number. 300,000. Let's do 300,000.
Hold on 1 second because,
Jeopardy music.
yep.
I need that app. Seriously, I had a super cool point to make right there, and we just got completely. Yeah, yep, happens to me all the time.
Yeah, what were we talking about anyway?
Hold on. Just have to open it in Google Sheets and then it'll be fine.
I'm an absolute pro at this, you can tell.
You just are pro at telling people what to do.
Oh, you like it.
Jessica's patient.
You like it.
Yeah. I have another open house to go to, so how long is this gonna take?
Yeah, no kidding.
Jessica, take him out.
All right. And
Hold on, we're almost there.
here's why it's important at open houses or in lead conversion.
Yep, almost there. This is it. Last step, I promise. Okay, so do you want 300?
Okay, go to 300,000. So now we're doing real life scenario. 300,000, do 15,000 down payment. Okay, boom. See how it changes numbers? As you type information in for their real life scenario, it changes, it auto populates. So home prices go down, 5%, interest rates up. What are they paying more for 30 years? 30 grand. They're paying $88 more a month, 30 grand more for the 30 years. How about here? Interest rates go up a point, home values go up 5%. They're paying $93,000 more over 30 years. So, can that maybe reframe my conversation with Scott right now? Let's talk about some scenarios, Scott. If home values go down, interest rates go up. Here you go. Here's what you're looking at. If home values go up and interest rates go up, and that's exactly what we've experienced in the last year, here's what happens. So, in terms of how important it is for you to be a homeowner, just that concept of wanting to own a home, and you've got a budget of $1,500, what I would suggest, what I'm going to do for you, is I'm going to give you some examples of what that $1,500 can buy for you right now today. And we'll focus on that and see if there's something that interests you enough that makes you want to move forward?
So, Mr. Realtor Man, what do you predict is going to happen with interest rates?
I predict one of three things is going to happen. You can guarantee it's going to be one of these three things. They're going to go up, stay the same, or go down. One of those three things. But what I
Get that in writing?
yes, and I tell people that, and they do that. They laugh. But what I say is, we can't deal in the unknowns. We can only deal with what we know today. Yes, they may go down. They may go up. They've been predicting that they're going up for years. They finally have. Maybe they'll continue on that track. But we know right now, you as a renter that wants to be a homeowner today, we got $1,500 to work with. And what we should be focusing on is what that $1,500 buys and how to get you the best house for that budget. That's what I can help with you right now to avoid this. So now, objection handled. Scott's going to say, yeah, let's have that conversation. Do I want to have that conversation, send him to search and never talk to him again? No. What I want to do is I want to set appointments. We're going to go look at houses because you know what? No matter what I send you, it's going to be on paper. It's not going to be, you're not going to be able to really walk in and feel the house. So what we're going to do is we're going to set an appointment. What time works for you to look at houses? Tomorrow, great. I'm going to pick 3 or 4 that fit that budget. I'm going to run them, by a lender to make sure that works. And then what I'm going to do is have that lender call you and talk to you about what that looks like. Now I'm setting the appointment for the lender. I will meet you tomorrow, regardless of whatever happens in that conversation. I'll meet you tomorrow. We'll look at a few houses and we'll see if they speak to you. I'm handling the objection. I'm moving forward. I'm setting the what? Appointment. Does that all make sense?
Yep.
Insert that. Remember, validate. Don't butt heads with them. Validate. Let them know it's a valid concern. Give them valuable information. Help reframe the way they think. Don't butt heads with them. Don't try to sell them on BS concepts for your own personal gain. Show them something they may not, help them reframe the way they're thinking about things. That tool will help that. And then insert the value of how you're going to help them. Not ask permission, but here's how I'm going to help you. I'm going to take you out. We're going to take a look at these houses, and we're going to see if they connect with you. You know what? Not really expect them to do the first day that they're totally going to, but we're just going to see if it's in the realm of possibility. When you see these things, does it feel possible that your $1,500 budget is going to work? By the way, when someone says their budget's $1,500, how often is it really $1,500?
They're just guessing half the time.
Half the time they're guessing, right? It could be $1,600 or $1,650. If they go, I really like this house, but oh man, it's not in that great a condition. Hey, we got another one too down the road that is going to be $25,000 higher, but I think we'd still might be in the same budget. And here's the thing about budgets that's awesome. Homeowners insurance, taxes, interest rate of the day will change what the house will cost. There is no set number. We have to cap at 200. It doesn't have to be that way. It could be 210, 215, 225, might have the same house payment as one at 200. You can show them those things. So that's objection. Any more on that one?
Is there a way to change the scenario percentages
You probably could. You'd have to go in and program it.
instead of a increase or decrease?
Yeah, you absolutely could. You could, all this is Excel. You just go in and do it. If you know how to work Excel, you can do it. What I love about this though, is you're able to have this up in an open house. It's a valuable tool.
Oh, you do have a decrease in the home.
Right, I think he's saying decrease in interest rates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, does anybody want this tool?
That's pretty cool.
Pretty cool, right? So it's right in the back office. Search it, go for it, look at it, use it, implement it. I've actually sold houses. I've converted leads with this tool myself. I love this thing. Okay, moving on. Another objection. What's another one we get?
So I went a couple weeks ago, I guess. Another referral. We were kind of dark for about 6 months. We finally went out and saw our first 2 houses.
Yeah.
The first one we saw, they wanted it.
Okay.
And they're just like, we've been looking for a long time. We finally saw this one house. They're afraid to jump on it
Okay.
so soon. But
Right. So they don't know if they're ready to actually jump on it. Okay. Right. They like the house, but they don't know if they're ready to make a move yet because they're not quite
we
ready.
have home shopping, and all of a sudden it's like right in their face.
Yeah.
Like what we do.
So again, let's talk to them about their motivation again to move. You always want to break it down to the why. Why do you get up in the morning and do what you do? You have a reason, right? I mean, either making money or I'm just bored and I don't want to be retired anymore. I mean, there's always a reason to get up and go work. Okay, there's a reason to build your life the way you want to build it, and the same for them. There's a reason that they thought about homeownership in the first place. Explore it. So Aaron, I understand, now that homeownership is right here in your face and it's time to make a decision. Either hold off or move forward. Let's talk about what inspired you to think about buying a home in the first place. What was that again?
Raise my kids somewhere where it's solidified or put a flag in the ground, you know,
Great. Would you say that's more of a need or more of a want?
a lot.
Want. Okay, so you're saying that you've got a roof over your head right now. You're not going to be homeless. You don't have to move.
Correct.
But you would like to, at some point, have that American dream, raising your family in this house, yada, yada, yada. Great. So let's talk about that transition. What does that look like? What are you worried about? What's your biggest challenge, hurdle, fear in making that transition?
Adulthood, we're dumping a bunch of money into something, and you know, what if the furnace breaks, or what if?
There we go. Now we got to the root of it. I'm worried about, what we tend to do in real estate is we tend to sit there and sell. It's a great home. You'll raise your family. You'll be happy. We don't get to the root. We don't actually talk to people like they're people. What freaks you out about this move? Right? And how do we solve your problem? That's the next phase of this. How do we solve your problem? So if it comes down to, well, it's scary because if things break, if I don't have the budget, great. Well, let me ask you this. Are you buying a home right now, and is that all your disposable cash and income going into this house? No. Do you have reserves? Do you have the ability to fix things? Because here's the reality of homeownership, and I can promise you this, Aaron, things are going to break. You will put money into it. Do you think that's a surprise to any homeowner out there in the world? No, you're making a choice to be a homeowner because of that reason, because of that American dream. I want to feel like I've got a piece of my pie, a piece of the pie, right? So you have to balance that against what that comes with. The consequence of that is you'll have to stand on your own 2 feet, and you'll have to fix those things, you'll have to create a budget for it. Are you ready for that? Yeah. So yes, are you ready for that? Here's some things we can do to help you with it. We can get a home warranty. That won't solve every problem, but we can get a home warranty. That'll solve some of the problems. The other part of the problems is we're going to make sure that that thing's inspected to the teeth to look for anything that we may see as a problem. You don't want to commit to that house until you know that you're comfortable with it. Does that make you feel better? Good. And hopefully what we really want to do is, and here's another thing we can do. What down payment are you planning to put on the house? $5,000. $5,000. Okay. Which that will not help in this situation. But I've seen people say, I want to put 10% down. Well, you might want to think about putting 5% down and keeping that other 5% as a reserve budget. I've solved that problem with that alone. So you're always looking for ways to interject and solve a problem. Okay. Sometimes it's just talking it through.
Would you get into a tax write-off as well?
So you could, there's going to be some tax savings, and that could get, yeah. So here's all the benefits, right? So here's the negatives. We already know things are going to break. It's going to be expensive. The benefits are you're going to gain equity. You're going to, be able to inspect it. You're going to have the home warranty. You're going to have the tax savings. You're going to have benefit. But when you weigh those things, those risk versus reward, that's what it comes down to. Risk versus reward. Is the juice worth the squeeze? That's what it comes down to. Is it worth taking that step? Is it that important to you? If not, then you probably don't want to do it. You don't want to get them to even write the offer on it. Why don't you want to get them to write the offer on it? Because you know what they're going to do 5 minutes before closing? Freak out and run away, and you're done. Don't go down the rabbit hole. You can talk through these issues, handle objections, and make things, like I said, sometimes it's just talking things through, making them feel confident. They're people. This is a people business. Sometimes they just need you to help them feel confident that they're making a move that's okay. If they feel that self-serving and salesy or sleazy, they're not gonna want to do it. But ask good questions. We don't ask good questions in this industry. We give statements. You'll be fine. It's a great home. It's got a beautiful foyer. Can you imagine raising your kids here? Here's the wall that you'll mark their height every year. Doesn't that sound awesome? We don't ask questions. And furthermore, we don't always know what to do when they answer the questions. I'm worried because, what do I say to that? So that's where you need to really hone your skill set, is treating people and talking to people like they're people. People need reassurance, and they need solutions. They don't always think of things the right way. Scott and his budget. I got $1,500, and that's what I've got, and I'm going to wait for the market to improve so I can spend that $1,500 and get more bang for my buck. But he might not be thinking of the risk associated with that. Or he might not be thinking that there's a way to make it happen now, that he doesn't have to wait a couple more years for things. What happens if the interest rates do go down, but the rest of the economy sucks, the job market sucks, everything, like gas prices go higher, everything starts getting screwed up. Does that not change perhaps what his $1,500 means to him at that point? Right? So we have to talk through these issues without coming off like we're selling them something. All right, another objection. I'll throw one out there if you guys don't have one. I'll list with you, but it's so easy to sell a house right now. I can literally open my door. I can open my window and say, do you want to buy my house? And 4 buyers will come running. Why would I pay you 6%? Why would I pay you 6% when I can do this on my own without even trying?
Well, I can put your house in front of more people. I've had this conversation with, I just sold a house in Oakdale. They had a person down the block that was gonna buy it for $185.
Yep.
And my market analysis showed, about in that price range. Long story short,
Yep.
we sold it for $34,000 above list price.
Yep.
And I can't believe it appraised for it, but
But you got it done.
appraisers can do adjustments because they can stretch it out how far or the distance
Yep.
and the time that it was sold, and it appraised for $215.
Let's make this more complicated, because what Gary's saying is, hey, if you sell it on your own, you'll find a buyer, but I'm going to get more exposure for you, so I'll get more opportunity, hence higher offers. And he's right. Let's make this tougher. Why would I pay you 6% when I could do this myself? And furthermore, I got another agent that will do it for 4.5%. Let's make it more complicated. Now you're saying, I'm going to give you the same thing Gary is. Gary's going to give me the same thing you're offering, but he's going to do it for 1.5% less. Let's talk about that objection. Because you know what I'm seeing happening in the industry now with the discount brokerages moving in and FSBO is getting more, more confidence. I'm seeing listing commissions with a downward pressure. We're seeing it all the time. Let's talk about that objection. Who's got a good answer for it? Other than, fine, I'll sign. That's not the way to have a good answer.
Discount broker, you gotta be careful what they're discounting. They might be offering a discount to the buyer's broker.
Okay, but is that an assumption? Might be, right? So let's talk about this. How do we get them thinking about this in a way that we're not attacking somebody or making assumptions or saying the wrong thing? Because we don't want to come off butting heads or selling, right? What we want to do is validate, show value, reframe the way they're thinking, and get them thinking the same way we are. And even make it look like it's their idea. Think that way. So that's great. Aaron, I'm picking on Aaron today. So what you're telling me is, aside from the listing commission, aside from the 4% versus 4.5% versus 6%, that you'd like to move forward with me. Is that a fair assumption?
I suppose so.
Good, great. So let's talk. Well, then we're going to talk about that. Well, what is it, other than the commission, what did the other person do, or what is it about them that you're feeling strong about? We'll talk about that. We're going to isolate every objection. In this case, we'll talk about commission. So it's a fair statement that you'd want to work with me if the commission was 4.5%. Yes, great. Let's talk about the commission real quick. So here's what we don't want to do. We don't want to slam on the discount broker, right? So here's what I'm going to say. Everybody is going to give you good marketing. Is that a fair statement? That you probably looked at the marketing and you said, hey, this looks like pretty good marketing. They're going to get you exposed out there. They probably talked about how they get you on Zillow, on Realtor.com, all that kind of stuff.
Everybody's on MLS, they got the whole thing going on, they go door knocking.
All the same, right? So what you're seeing is what you're getting from me is similar enough to what you're getting from the other person for 1.5% less, right? So let's talk about this. Here's what I'd like to talk about and see what their plan is. I'll explain what I do, and you can let me know what they do, and we'll see which one you like better. So aside from marketing, because we can all agree that's going to be pretty much the same thing. Exposure is going to be there. If it's on the MLS and goes through the channels of Zillow and the whole internet and Facebook and everything else. But the question really becomes, how do we solve the real estate problem that is statistically backed up of what happens when? What happens when an inquiry comes in on your property? What is the other agent's plan? What is in their operations? What is in their deployment that when an inquiry happens, what deploys on their back end? What does their operations look like? I'll tell you about mine. So in the industry right now, we have a 36% non-response rate, meaning that 36% of people that inquire on a property like yours, Aaron, 36% of people get no response at all. So yes, the marketing is out there, it's deployed, but 36% of people get zero response. And the ones that do, it's between 5 and 9 hours on average.
How do you know that information?
Because I've got a great study right from MIT I can show you right now, and I'll leave it as a leave behind for you. Actually, I put it in the listing presentation. Yep. Because what I'm talking about in my listing presentation is operations, not marketing. Everybody's talking about marketing. So here's the deal. 5 to 9 hours is average response time. So you as a consumer, if you're looking at 5 houses, Aaron, and you called on 5 different places, for the agent that called you back in 30 seconds versus the agent that called you back in 9 hours, may you be in a different mindset 9 hours later, or perhaps you found a different property that you like better in the interim. You want that as an outcome, possible outcome for your buyers in your house. Can you agree that would be a bad scenario?
For sure.
Great. So let me tell you about my No Buyer Left Behind program. Let me tell you how I make sure that we don't have that non-response time. Then I'm going to go into call action, automated responses, lead capture, and automated follow-up, right? So even if I myself am not the one picking up the phone in 30 seconds, I've got an 18-second response time through my automation that I'm going to get to every buyer. In fact, I'm going to set appointments within seconds of inquiry. That's number one. Does the other agent have a system for that? Or did they explain theirs? No, they didn't. Okay, no problem. So let's demonstrate this real quick. So here's what we're going to do. Here's one of my properties right now, XYZ Main Street. Go ahead and inquire on this. Go ahead and follow the prompts that the marketing tells you to do. I'll have them do it. Boom, there it goes right on the phone, and the response goes right back to them. So sellers lose money in 3 places, massive amounts of money in 3 places. Number one is improper exposure, which we all can agree that the exposure from the other realtor and us, it's about the same. They lose massive amount of money on improper pricing. So, improper pricing. So you can agree that our pricing that we're recommending and the other agent's pricing we're recommending are about the same or close enough. Is that true? Yes, great. But here's another place that they lose massive amounts of money. Actually, I'm sorry, there's 4. 4 is improper operations and deployment. So what happens when marketing flyers run out? What happens when inquiries come onto the property? What happens when open houses aren't scheduled? So we have to have these things on deployment. We have to have transaction coordinators ready. We have to have processes ready, marketing assistants ready. We have to have an actual system of operations. And that's what I explained to them. I won't get into the listing presentation with you guys, but that's what I go into and explain. 44-point checklist of operations. Here's what we do. Okay. Now, the 4th place that lose money, a massive amount of money, this is a big one, is improper negotiations. This also ties into operations, improper negotiations. So what will happen, and I don't know if your other agent talked about this, but if you get 4 offers on the property, do you select the highest? Is that your automatic go-to? Because what we do is we really look for the highest and best, a combination of both. And here's why. Just because an offer is the highest doesn't mean it's going to be the best. We have to pass an inspection, get past an inspection period, and we have to get past an appraisal if there's financing involved. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look to make sure that that buyer has the right temperament for those challenges. And we're going to have a backup in place in case it doesn't work out. You can agree, Aaron, right, that if we put your house on the market, we sold it and it fell through, not once, but maybe even twice, that's not going to look good to future buyers. That's going to be a challenge, right? Here's how we prevent it. Usually, typically what happens is there's going to be a home inspection. They're going to come back to you and say, hey, I love the house, but I want you to fix these items. How would you like a system that we generally, 90% of the time, get it where we don't even have to change the light bulb? You lose no money in home inspection. Would that be a good system for you?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Here's how we're going to do it. We're not going to try to accept one offer. We're going to expose it to enough people, hopefully get at this price, get multiple offers. We're going to take backup, not 1, but 2 or 3 backup offers. And we're going to make sure that they're going to be willing to take it in the condition it's in. So if the first buyer falls out during an inspection or they try to negotiate, we'll move buyer number 2 in. That's how we're going to save you massive amounts of money right there. Also, second place, they lose money in improper negotiations. Appraisal. Appraisals right now, there's a 25% or so fall through rate. Somewhere in there. I don't know exactly what the number is, but there's going to be a fall through rate based on appraisal, right? So how are we going to be able to protect you from that? Again, if we have backup offers and we're selecting the highest, not the highest, but the best offer, the one that has the best chance of surviving appraisal, and another one is a backup in case it doesn't, we can slide right in there. So in my operations and how I'm going to tell you right now how I operate, how I do business, how I'm going to help you not only sell your house, get the proper exposure, get the right price for it, but have the actual experience of making it through a closing table and protecting your bottom line. That's why I charge you 6% versus 4.5% for that extra insurance. So you're not losing money at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
Sure, it's fantastic work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is that a good way to handle an objection? We're not butting heads and saying, I charge 6.5 because I'm worth it. Well, how are you worth it? For years, I've listened to agents say it, I charge it because I'm worth it. Well, how? I sell houses, I get in the closing table. How? It's the how. That's what we explain. This is how you defeat the discount, by the way. Explaining what your operations look like and being able to back it up with viable proof. By the way, Aaron, I should also tell you this too. So here's my recent metrics. In the last 4 houses that I've sold within hours, not even days, but hours of putting them on the market, and I'm averaging 8% over asking price. So here's the last 4 I did. That's how it ended up with too, keeping track of your metrics. And if you have proper operations and you go ahead and list a house and you get a listing contract that goes on 6 days from now, yeah, pre-market that thing. Get a buzz about it. Get it where buyers are going to come in and buy that thing day one. So you can say, I've been selling my house as the first day on the market. Is that not a great statement? If it's part of your operations that you deploy it that way, that every listing you're going to take is going to get exposure before, I'm going to say this till I can be super clear and not misquoted. I'm not saying withhold listings and try to hog them and try to prevent people from showing them other than your buyers. Don't do that. Get a buzz about the property as much as you can so that when you get it on the market, if there's, I mean, that whole sense of scarcity, a property's coming, I can't see it yet, or it's not going to be open till Friday. That sense of scarcity around that property, when there's a buzz about it, that's what you want to build. Make it part of your operations. That's how you defeat objections. Having answers, asking good questions, validating the concerns, not butting heads with them, but actually having answers to the objection. Make sense? Anybody have any questions on that? I see I've lost Angela to, well, probably to solitaire back there. I don't know what she's doing.
Thinking about what you said.
She's thinking, yeah, she looks perplexed back there. I can't tell.
I don't have a solid set of systems for listings, and so I'm freaking out about it. Do you really want me to like?
I love that you're bringing that up because you know what we're doing for that? We are building one. And I've been talking about it for 6 months. We haven't got it done yet because we're still building it. But it's going to come out. A listing presentation geared exactly on what I talked about. Okay.
Well, obviously what you said is fantastic, but I mean, say you're in a, like North Minneapolis.
Hmm?
Homes are, different, I guess, than you say Egan or, Vancouver or whatever. So if you got a lot of MHFA or FHA people coming in, I mean, every offer's gonna have a lot of.
Yes and no, but it also in lower priced properties, which, if you're saying North Minneapolis because the price point's lower. Same with east side of St. Paul, same with Newport, same with South St. Paul, right? You're also going to find investor opportunity there too. So if I'm finding cash opportunity that's, 5,000 under list price, but, MFHA 10,000 over, we're going to talk about what the best offer is versus highest and what the feasibility is. If it's feasible that the 10,000 over, because I've got comp value to prove it, we're going to go with that. Okay, so it comes down to being able to interpret what your chances are with any offer.
Investors would know that though. I mean, they come in cash. They're like, well, we're just gonna beat everybody else out because we can waive an inspection.
Which is awesome because that's what you want for your seller to be able to, if you attracted cash offers every single time, I would use that as a metric all day long. I work in, east side of St. Paul or South St. Paul, and I've got a great, network of investors that I keep on running into, and we're selling these properties. We're getting buzzed about them before they even hit the market. Day one, we're getting cash offers. This one sold in 5 hours cash. This one over here sold in 1.5 days cash. Great metric to have. Remember, not always highest, best, right? Okay. Anything else on that? Because that was a huge objection and explanation, and I see hair blown back. So that's okay. We'll keep on covering that one. What's another one? We got time for another one. How about this? I'm looking for a deal.
There aren't any.
That's a great way to handle that objection.
Is a buyer, you mean?
Yeah, I'm looking for a deal.
What kind of deal?
See, asking questions. Great. In your mind, what does a deal look like? In your mind, what is a deal? So Aaron, tell me you're looking for a deal.
I'm looking for a deal.
Awesome. So what you're saying is if we buy a house, you want it to be a deal. You want it to be a sweet deal. Fair statement? In your mind, what does a sweet deal look like?
Buddy 10 years ago bought his house for, 25 grand under asking price, and I would do the same thing.
Great, under asking price. Did that just give me a red flag to look at because the asking price is always indicative of value? No. Okay, that's something to work with. Awesome. So here's another question, Aaron. What's your main driving force behind wanting a deal? Are you looking to invest and flip the property? I mean, is it a certain budget you're trying to hit? What's your main driver of wanting to get an undervalued property?
I want to know that I'm going in and building equity right away.
Okay, gotcha. So you see where we're going to go with this? We're going to ask questions. We're going to continue to ask questions. Okay. So what's your primary reason for buying, Aaron? Are you looking to move and occupy it, or are you looking to, is it short term? You know, what are you trying to accomplish in this move?
Kind of owner occupied, but mostly investment.
Gotcha.
Sell in 5 years next month.
So you're looking 5 years down the line that you can cash out and be able to hopefully at that point have equity. What are some other things we can do to build equity in 5 years, by the way? Nobody really thinks of this. Other than getting 10 grand off the price, what's actually a better way to build equity faster?
Home improvements.
Home improvement's a good one. 15-year mortgage. That's another one. Because Aaron didn't tell me I can't afford more than $1,500 in this scenario. He's telling me he wants a deal because he wants to build equity. Could he possibly afford $400 more a month for the same house to build equity 5 times faster? Very possible. We just assume things too much. There's so many things we can explore in these objections. So Aaron, your primary objective is to be able to move. Are you going to keep this in 5 years or sell it when you move to cash out?
It's worth it.
Depends on what's worth. Okay, so equity is a main driving force for you. So building equity, you would agree that if you got a under market value property today, that could be helpful, correct? So have you seen the way properties are selling today? I mean, let me give you 2 scenarios. Number one, if you had a property out there that's been sitting there for a while, nobody buys it, but you get a great deal on it. You feel good about that. I mean, no one's wanted the house, but you got it. Or you got a house that everybody wants and you've beaten them out. Which one seems like a more attractive long-term investment for you?
The one that's more attractive than everybody else.
Good. So you're trying to figure out a way, how do I get that attractive house that's going to, at the end of the day, when I resell it, everybody's going to want, but you want to build equity.
But I don't want to go in a bidding war. I don't want to pay so much.
Gotcha.
You could, but I don't want to do it.
Gotcha. So here's a solution possibly. So what's your budget looking like? So are you looking, because here's the thing about budget shoppers. A lot of people aren't looking at the top of their budget. They're looking towards the middle because they're conscious. They want a great deal and they want to make it easy to afford, right? So what's your price range here? And what price range are you looking at?
250 range.
Great, 250 range. So if you found something, 2 solutions I can think of. If you found something at 175 and you put equity into, even though there might be scarcity around that property, people want it, they're fighting over it. If you put equity into that, if you could actually improve that property without your own money, if you're able to do that to increase equity, would that be attractive to you?
Without my own money.
Yeah, without your own money. It'd be borrowed money. Would that be an attractive option?
How's that possible?
Well, we're going to end up talking about renovation loans, right? We can talk about renovation loans. Or how about this? If we're able to set you up with a loan that's going to pay down the principal faster to build equity faster, even if you got a great deal on the property, 10 grand off the property. If you're able to get financing that would be able to take that loan, that principal off that loan, 50% faster, would that be an appealing?
Yeah.
Right? So, for example, and here's where I'm going with this. He's looking at 250. Could he possibly go at 210 and do a 20-year or 15-year loan and have that exact same effect? Same kind of house payment, faster equity payoff, right? All we're doing is asking questions and talking. Have you thought of this? Have you tried this? Have you heard of this? And I'm looking for hot buttons. I'm looking for where I can interject something, right? So Aaron says, man, I tell you what, I don't want a piece of crap house. I don't want to live in a place that needs all the work. Great. If you think about buying cheaper that we can end up renovating with somebody else's money by the time you move in, it's exactly how you want. Well, how do we do that? So we're going to cast a wider net. Maybe you really want to be within a mile of work, but you'll move out 8 miles from work to make that happen. We don't know until we have the conversation. So some of the possibilities, Aaron, with that, you really, really like the town of New Brighton. Okay, great. So in New Brighton, it's going to be a little bit tough. But if we moved into, call it Oakdale, which is probably 10 minutes away, I could find you that same house for $210,000. It's going to need probably $50,000, $60,000 of work, but it's going to be renovated with other people's money that you're going to have pretty much instant equity and a house that's in good shape. Is that appealing enough to even explore that?
I'll explore it.
Good. Ask questions, interject value, see where you can find a compromise. Anything else on that?
How do I compete against investors on property like that?
Say again?
How do I compete with investors, excuse me, on a property like that?
Gotcha. So yeah, it's going to be a process, right? You're going to end up having to, and keep in mind with investors too, a lot of times the person that's going to be doing the renovation loan, by the time they're done with the renovation loan, the equity they have might be 20 grand or something like that. That's not going to be a margin that investors are going to want to work with. They might be in a different bracket. Okay. So you don't always have investor competition looking for renovation loans. And by the way, renovation loans investors aren't always looking for properties that need carpet, paint, siding, and windows. They're looking for things usually that need full renovation, which that's probably not going to be what Aaron gets. So it might be, you might end up having some crossover with that, but not all the time. There's going to be opportunities, but we're going to tell Aaron, this might not happen in one shot. We may lose out on offers. We may have investors that beat us out, but we stick with it with consistency. We're going to find you a place. It'll work.
That doesn't lessen our offer. I mean, going in there with a renovation loan.
No, not at all. In fact, in some ways, it helps it because what's it gonna do for the appraisal? They're appraising it on future value, ARV, after repaired value. And what's it gonna do for work orders? You just roll them right in. Actually, in some ways, it's better than a standard loan because you can deal with those two issues faster, better, more efficiently.
I was working with a buyer who's FHA and house over. We actually did it with finance.
Right.
Was kind of worried about it not appraising, but because they agreed that he was going to be fixing, because it was like the roof that needed a lot.
Sure.
of work.
Yep.
But he's a contractor himself, so it just kind of all worked out.
And that's the thing, the appraisals seem to be pretty good because they're actually looking at future value. So if you're doing things like, I'm going to remodel the bathroom, I'm going to do things that will actually help increase value, that only helps your cause. And if you're going to be fixing work orders and things of that nature, it's a lot easier than to A, get your buyer in that house, and B, get the seller to agree to that loan, because you're saying, look, I can tell you right now, we're going to have a work order with the peeling paint. We might have a work order with the asbestos that's still in the house. We're going to have possible work orders here. We're able to tie those in at our expense, not yours, but our expense, into the loan to deal with that. So there's ways you can actually pitch that.
Yeah, and like the seller was like, at first, they didn't want FHA.
Yep.
Because they knew if there's something would be wrong.
Yep.
Because of the roof, but because we were telling them, we have a renovation on the contract. They're more open to
Of course.
FHA.
Yep. So now the objection from Aaron is, I want equity and I don't want to, be in these bidding wars, and I want a unicorn. That's really what Aaron's saying. I'm looking for a unicorn. Well, you know what? Unicorns don't exist, so make your own. Go build your own. That's what you got to do. And you can help them with that. You're looking for, why do they want the unicorn? I want equity. 5 years from now, I don't want to, have paid off $3,000 on my mortgage. I want equity. I want values to go up. I want loan balances to go down. I want equity that I can cash out and buy my dream house in 5 years. That's what Aaron's saying. How do we get him there? Find a solution that he might not be thinking.
Does that work with the VA loan as well?
There is no renovation with VA loans. Conventional, there is, and FHA. Yeah.
Well, that's not an entirely true statement, Mike.
So unless I missed something, I haven't heard of VA. I've heard of.
I had a VA, I used Andy, and they have that, I call it a bridge loan, it's not a bridge loan, but basically it's actually a HUD home.
Yep.
So they had removed the water heater,
Okay.
went through Andy, she was able to, while Amic held the loan, get that taken
That's
care of.
different though. Yeah, that's an escrow. That's not a construction loan. So they'll escrow for the repairs, then they'll sell the loan on the back end after, which they'll do that. AMIC will do that. They're good about it. Anyway, that concludes conversion and closing. Today we're talking more about higher level communication, asking good questions, handling objections, dealing with the challenges of the market. What were your takeaways before we let out?
Dig more for information and not be so like one-dimensional.
Yes. Good way to put it. One-dimensional. Don't be one-dimensional. Another takeaway.
Call to action, text response, so it's good.
Good. Yep.
4 ways to,
Good. Things to talk about where people lose money, where you can help prevent that, right? Good. Anybody else?
Response rate, how quick you get back.
Good.
Being more resourceful with your clients.
Yes. Keep in mind, guys, we're not professional door openers anymore. Our job really is more of a high-level consulting than sales. That's really what we do. And the higher level of consultant you are, with the more solutions, the better you're going to do. All right, we're going to start RG Advance in about 2 minutes.